So a ballot line isn't really an official political party. We're kind of working on becoming an official political party. The Unity Party ballot line is really about being in the center between Republicans, Democrats, Independents, around two key principles, which is we want to go back to basics, and then we want to raise the standards for municipal excellence in New York City. So we're staying out of foreign wars, we're staying out of social engineering, and we're working on things that really Republicans, Independents, and Democrats can agree. And I'm going to ask you to sort of just step back from Middle Village for a second and think about the city of 8 million people. If you were a doctor for New York City, what are the things that you could do to really stop this kind of boulder, that's the socialist boulder, kind of falling down the hill? What can those of us do? And I want to give you 5 ideas that I've been working on, and then we can have a discussion if you want, or go to the park, whatever. So the first thing is I want to focus on turning learners into earners. I'm focused on that age 10 to 25. I think the city kind of spends money by sort of spraying it all over the population. But the best investment, I worked as a gardener for 4 summers. I worked with my hands. My dad's from Argentina. It's kind of a stereotype that if you're Latino, you work with your hands. But I must have planted over 300 trees in my lifetime. And I know this, when you plant a young tree, you gotta take care of it. You gotta water it, you gotta make sure the water gets to the roots, you gotta put it in the right place, and we're not doing that with our kids. They've cut the after-school programs. The results in the schools are that we have half the kids who are not performing at grade level in reading, writing, and math. And what that does for them is it leads them into what I call the minimum wage trap for the rest of their lives. You're not getting into JP Morgan, you're not getting into Google to get a good job. You're getting in there on a bicycle delivering a hamburger to somebody who went to a better school system. So we need to really focus our resources. And what I'm proposing specifically is that we don't have the young people pay any taxes until they're 26. Now, the mechanism that we would do that is when you go to work at McDonald's and you're 13 years old and you earn $200 and they take out $60 or $50 from your paycheck, we're going to accumulate that and we're going to give it back to you when you're 26. Because the problem with our young people is that they're starting out behind the 8 ball. If they go to college, they get student debt, they don't understand the value of going to work. And we want to change the mentality of the city from one where the people are expecting the city to take care of them, back to how it used to be, which is it's really up to the people to get off to a good start and earn money for themselves. So I call this fast start accounts. And we would give it to the teachers, we would give it to the parents, and we would give it to the kids as an online tool and a target, because telling a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old that they have to plan for the retirement is too far away. We just want to we think of New York City as a machine. And we want to basically be a machine that creates 25-year-olds who are up and running. They've got an education, they're literate, they're voting. You have to vote in order to get this program. They're filing their taxes, they're on their way to being a contributor to society. And they're not off to a bad start. I think too many kids off to not a great start. Second thing, I want to strengthen the ties between families. And what I want to do is recognize the role of parents in creating earners. So I want to create family tax accounts so that parents or guardians get a perpetual interest in the amount of taxes that their kids pay. So if your kids are paying $5,000 or $6,000 a year in taxes, I want you to get 15% of that back for you. Because you are the reason why some kid who was 12 years old or 13-year-old understood the importance of school, understood the importance of earning and learning. And want to strengthen the family as the key unit in the city and not the city. Keep going. We need to address NYCHA. My idea about NYCHA is completely different, which is, very simply, we need to move on from NYCHA. We need to go from having 177,000 NYCHA apartments over the next 40 or 50 years down to 25 or 30,000. I'm basically proposing a buyout of NYCHA apartments. Because you can't have a city the size of Atlanta inside the city of New York, which is what you have. You have 600,000 people living in NYCHA.
How many units are in District Fair?
All of them.
Yeah, most units, about 50% of the units in NYCHA are actually in District Fair. Have already been like.
Yeah, you had a building in the Bronx where the chimney just collapsed and they're all falling apart. I want to basically give the residents of NYCHA, the good residents, who've been there for a while, I want to give them an option to buy their apartments for practically nothing. I want to get the city to do less, okay? I don't want the city to be running around doing everything for everybody. I want the city to run the police force, pick up the garbage, run the subway, and run the schools. And so the last thing I want to leave you with is, I think we should also think about a direct election of the school chancellor. Because the school chancellor, if you follow my thinking, which is we want to get the young people off to a good start, we want to get them to 25, improve literacy. There's never been a mayor that's been elected who really comes from an education background. And I want to propose that we have direct election of the school chancellor, and that the school chancellor has the budget, and we basically simplify the management of the city so that instead of it being a $115 billion city and you elect a mayor and they appoint all their commissioners, the key thing is the schools. If we get the schools right and we create kids who are literate and they know how to work, the city will be better off right in a hurry. So there are 7 of us on the November ballot on the Unity Party. We have running for public advocate, and that's way over in column K, so when you get in there, go over to column K. We have a controller candidate, we have a borough president candidate in Manhattan, we have 4 city council candidates. To grow the Unity Party as a safe place for those Democrats who don't like what's going on the far left, for the Republicans who don't like what's going on their far right, and for all of New York's independents. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope you got a general idea. I was actually a donor for Paul. I think he's a great candidate. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. So anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take them. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the current performance?
So the current public advocate is Jamani Williams. He took over from Letitia James. He had a sort of a 2-year period, and then he's been public advocate for 4 years. He's on the ballot now to become the public advocate for 10 years. Raise your hands if you can think of anything that Jamani Williams has done to help New York City. Okay, so that's the problem. Jamani Williams has primarily stood for racial equality, and that is a great cause. It's one of the most dignified causes. We fought a civil war over it, but that has really been the focus of his efforts. We have forgotten about the taxpayers. We've forgotten about the middle class. We've forgotten about the kids who are not getting educated in the schools. And I want to rebalance it so that we get back to basics. My own background is I've been a business doctor for 40 years. I probably have more financial services experience than the entire city council combined. I worked to help rebuild the World Trade Center, to solve the global financial crisis, and I'm very comfortable working with very complex situations like how do we restructure New York and cut the taxes by 50% over the next 20 years. Any other